What's new in CloudBees CI 2.504.1.6? On April 30th, 2025, CloudBees CI 2.504.1.6 was released. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the changes that happened in that release. Also on April 30th, Jenkins LTS 2.504.1 was released. On May 1st, I did a video with Mark Waite about all the changes that occurred within that release. If you're curious about what was covered in that video, the link to that video is down in the description. Now, if you've never taken a look at the release notes for CloudBees CI, let me show you how to get there. We're going to start at docs.cloudbees.com. Under Documentation, let's go to CloudBees CI. And then under the Documentation dropdown, let's select Release Notes. And here we're on the release notes for all the releases for CloudBees CI. Now, before we take a look at the release notes, let's go ahead and take a look at this important block. If you skip versions when you upgrade, refer to previous versions of the release notes for any relevant known issues or upgrade notes. Well, what does that mean? Again, our most recent release is 2.504.1.6. If I'm going to be upgrading to this version from, let's say, version number 2.492.22, I would want to take a look at the release notes for 492.23, as well as 492.35, as well as the release notes for 2.504.1.6 to understand all the changes that may have occurred or known issues that I might need to look out for. As a CloudBees CI client, we recommend an assisted update to help with this process. There is a link down in the description about how to get help with an assisted update. Let's go ahead and scroll down and take a look at the release notes for traditional platforms first, and then we'll take a look at the release notes for modern cloud platforms. Now, you also notice this big red box is right here at the top. We'll take a look at that once we get into modern cloud platforms. So taking a look at the full release notes for traditional platforms, number one thing to keep in mind is the Yahoo UI library has been completely removed from CloudBees CI. What that means is if you are still using a plugin that has a dependency upon Yahoo UI, then that plugin is no longer going to render correctly. Remember that previous section where I was just talking about taking a look at known issues and upgrade notes? Well, in this case, what we wanted to do is take a look at the upgrade notes from Jenkins LTS to tell us what plugins are missing. So going back to that video that I did with Mark Waite on May 1st, we go through that upgrade guide. Let's go ahead and scroll down into new features. There were no new features for traditional platforms with this release. For feature enhancements, the biggest thing that I want to call out is the CloudBees Pipeline Explorer plugin, or CPE, no longer has a dependency on the Operations Center context. This dependency has now moved from being required to now being optional. If we scroll down into resolved issues, there were a number of HA, high availability, and CPE, or CloudBees Pipeline Explorer fixes in this release for traditional platforms. Let's go ahead and go take a look at the release notes for modern cloud platforms. So if we click into full release notes, we're going to see this upgrade notes section, the big red box that we saw on the overview page. Right now, with this release, agents.separatenamespace.enabled is now a required argument in the CloudBees CI Helm chart. So you must set that value now in your Helm chart if you had not set it before. Go through and read the upgrade notes for this to understand how to properly set this value in your environment. Let's go ahead and scroll down. We can also see that the RBAC master service account name is now deprecated for managed controllers. Again, if you're using that within your values.yaml for your Helm chart, make sure you understand what's going on with this change. Let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit more and go into new features. So for this release, for 2.504.1.6, with CloudBees CI for modern cloud platforms, there is now a Cask controller bundle service. Up until this point, if you're using Cask configurations for your controllers, those were all being served directly from the Operations Center. Well, now what we have is a new service to where it reduces the Operations Center load. So it's not the Operations Center that's going to be managing all of the Cask bundles for your controllers. Now, what you're going to have is the service set up. The service supports SCM connectors as well. Once you're ready to implement this, be sure to read the documentation setting up a managed controller using the Cask controller bundle service. Let's go ahead and scroll down into feature enhancements. The second point I want to call out is there is a new health check endpoint for managed controllers. Now, this is being used internally by the high availability subsystem, HA, but if you wanted to take a look at it, all you have to do is put a /health/ at the end of the URL and you'll see that health check endpoint. If you want to use this, you need to make sure that you enable it on the controller configuration. And two other items I want to call out that are different from traditional platforms. We have an admin monitor displays if quiet down mode is enabled, as well as a new administrative monitor for pod security standards enforcement in Kubernetes clusters. And one thing I want to call out specifically for modern cloud platforms in the resolved issues is the managed controller's URL was activated in Operations Center before the controller was ready to serve traffic. Again, this has been now fixed with 2.504.1.6. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach out to us on X at CloudBees. If this video was helpful to you, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to CloudBees TV yet, why not? Take a moment, click on that subscribe button, and then ring that bell, and you'll be notified anytime there's new content available on CloudBees TV. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.